this is going to be the hardest part of the interview for you.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing it. We started doing this a couple of months ago. So we did it with Ryan Fitzgerald, Fitzy, with his first AFL goal.
Yeah.
Then we did it with Eddie Betts with some of his goals of the year and his favourite goal. Tommy is now going to wander in with the laptop.
Oh, right.
And you are going to go in detail, as you have never done before, about what happened in the second innings, Scotty,
Sounds good.
which will go down in
Thanks, mate.
the history of Australian cricket. We don't need the commentary, Tommy, at this particular point in time. So, yeah, I haven't been privileged enough to call Test cricket for a great period of time, 5 years now. And singly the best thing I've ever seen, due to you're a local, you're unknown in a lot of people's eyes. There's a big crowd. It's England. It's the Ashes. It's before we start looking at it, could you believe what was happening?
No.
Couldn't believe it?
Still can't.
Still can't.
Yeah.
Let's go through it, Scotty.
Yeah.
So it's late in the day when you get your opportunity.
Yeah.
England 2 for 22. Scotty Boland comes in. He's bowling to Hamid, who had problems the way he was holding the bat. There's the keeper and 3 slips. Roots up the other end. Boland, none for none from 2 deliveries. How are things looking at this stage?
I was much more relaxed second dig, and I think knowing that I was only going to bowl 2, I was hoping to get 2 overs out that night.
Yep.
I was much more relaxed. I remember being at fine leg for the early on. Stark was on a hat trick, and I was like, "Geez, I've never been like this. Crowd is so loud for the hat trick ball." I remember it was unbelievable. And then I came on, got a similar roar, and then
What have you done to Hamid?
decent ball, little nipped away from him a little bit, but it was really fine nick straight to the keeper.
So that's 1 for. You're pumped.
Yeah.
Show a bit of emotion.
Yeah.
Crowd's starting to get up and about. Like it's late in the day. They've probably had a few frosty ones. Boys are rubbing your head. So that's the end of Hamid. We got replays, Tommy. Let's get through the replays. And then old Jack Leach comes out as Jack Leach comes out as the night watchy.
Yeah.
Now there's 4 slips. There's short leg, and to be fair, Jack Leach is batting 2 stumps outside leg stump at this point.
Yeah. So I remember as I was running in before the first ball, I hadn't looked up until a bit later in my run up, and I was like, I can see all the stumps here.
Well, that's the first thing I've seen there.
And then first ball I bowled to him, I went straight at the stumps, and I only late blocked it, and it bounced over the stumps.
And then
this ball.
So you've gone dot, dot, wicket, dot.
Yeah. And then this next ball, I was thinking the same thing, just try and bowl it around off stump. Either try and get him LB, caught behind, bowled.
Doesn't play a shot.
And he's left it, yeah.
There's a big hand in the air. There's a bit of emotion from our man. Crowd in the background. Like blokes it's like the 1980s. There's blokes with their shirts off. They're jumping around in the crowd. You've got 2.
Yeah.
You've got 2. Is there another over after this or not?
Yeah.
So do you get to wander down to...
Yeah, so I've gone down to fine leg.
Yep.
So Root would have been on strike. I remember... So I've finished that over, and I'm like looking up at how much time was left, and I was going, geez, I really hope I get another over.
Well, you've got 2 for none.
Yeah. So I was
off 1 over at this point.
Yeah, I was pretty keen to keep bowling.
Right.
And knowing that the time was touch and go, and then Ben Stokes took the longest time to get down the steps at the G and
Clever
walk out the ground. Yeah, so he played it well, like as all batters you would hope would do that when you're on their side. But I was hoping to try and get another over, but I was down at fine leg, and the crowd were going nuts. Yeah.
Tell me about going nuts.
Chanting my name, just yelling, like, really loud. So much support for me. Probably wasn't used to it.
So you go off at that stage, and like you're a professional cricket team. There's, I guess you have a debrief, but is Paddy and Starkey and all are they getting around you and saying, Scotty, well done? Like, how does it work, or is it just that's your job? Well done.
No, I remember walking off the ground. Guys are pretty happy with how we're going. We've got England 4 for 20.
Yep.
everyone was pumped felt like everyone was pumped for me, and then getting off the ground, the support staff, same thing. Like coaches are happy, well, everyone's happy when you got a team 4 for 20. But speaking of like Ronnie and JL and Dodders, they were all really happy with how I was going. I was sort of sitting in my little spot in the rooms at the G, and I remember Tony Doddermaid come over and was like, I think he got 6 for on debut as well.
He did, yeah, and Mona made it 50 too.
Yeah, he probably did, and he sort of said, if you beat my figures, I'll buy you a bottle of wine.
Some emotion finally.
Yeah.
On my memories, and you're going to hear my voice all over it, which I'm apologising for that, but it was good fun. So that night it was Warney and Vorney.
Yep.
And Warney's the proudest Victorian that's ever been.
Yeah.
Like he's claimed you. He's seen the photo. He's like, I taught this bloke everything he knows. Jumping around. Vorney has got his head in his hands because he's in a 4 for 22.
Yeah.
So he come back the next morning where the legend of Scotty Boland goes to a whole nother level. Next morning, you've now got 2 for 5 off 1.4. You've been a touch expensive. You're going 1.3. You're bowling to Bairstow, roots up the other end. What's your general thoughts about bowling to Jenny Bairstow, who can, even at 5 for 60, this is a man that can just go whack, whack, whack.
Yeah. I was probably thinking, hopefully just get into my spell. Hopefully it feels as good as it did the night before. It's a different day, so you never sort of know how the ball's going to come out in your first over. But I think, the back end of the first innings and then the first over, the second innings gave me some confidence to run in pretty hard.
Running in, Bairstow. Looks plumb to me. Big appeal. Who's that? Blocker has given it to you. Has Johnny reviewed here or not?
Yeah, he did.
He reviewed. Always looked out.
Yep.
So now you've got 3 for 5.
Yep. I reckon that morning Stokes played a couple on drives off Starkey, and I was at fine leg thinking, maybe the wicket's flattened out a bit.
Could be a long day.
Like Stokes and Root are in, Bairstow's in next. Yeah, we could be in, and then they got Butler as well. So, we could be in for a long day. But, it wasn't to be for them.
So I'm upstairs at this stage, and I'm privileged to be back in there that morning. I'm next to Vorney and MEK Hussey at this stage in commentary, who makes one of the great comments I've ever heard, which we'll get to. So Bairstow is gone, on review, umpire's call, outski. Then Josh Butler comes in. Another damaging batsman. Roots up the other on 28. You've got 3 for 5 off 2.3.
Yep.
Slip Corden is waiting. Just full to Josh. Get him playing early.
Yep, that's Root.
Oh, that's Root. Yeah, sorry, Root's on strike.
Yeah.
Root's on strike. So he's on 28. He's the one that can somehow hold it together. How are you bowling to the England captain?
I remember because I was feeling good. I probably was thinking about trying to swing the ball out, which is not my stock ball, but balls come out nicely. I thought I'll give it a crack. So switch the ball around. And I don't know if it swung, maybe it straightened, but
Hey, it swung.
yeah,
That swung.
but
It's funny. Warney said Starkey's one that knocked out with a leg stump. The first ball, the Asher didn't swing, and it swung to
That
the foot.
swung,
But because you're a Victorian, he's like, Scotty's hooping it.
that swung it. Yeah.
All around the place. So it's hooping. Catch is taken by Davey, and England now 6 for 61. You've got 4 for 5 now. England 7 for 61. You've got 4 for 5 off 2.4. And I can remember thinking, just take Spider-Cam as he's walking back down to in front of Bay 13, the old Bay 13. How are you feeling at this stage? You got 4 for 5.
Yeah, well, I can't even remember how I was feeling, but I do remember going down to Bay 13, and as I said before, they were going nuts, and I was just Nathan Lyon again would come up to me as I was running down the fine leg and be like, just embrace it. Like, you're probably not going to wave and carry on to the crowd, but just try and soak it all in, because he's like, this is awesome. We're about to win a Ashes series.
Yeah, you weren't running down there giving it the double coppers by any stretch of the imagination, fair to say, Scotty. Okay, we progress. So we've knocked over Root. He's gone. Warner's taken the catch. And now you're bowling to Mark Wood, your first test wicket.
Yep.
3 slips.
Yep.
You've already knocked Woody over once.
Yep.
And he's hit it straight back to you.
Yeah.
But you've caught it.
Yeah,
Wasn't an easy snag.
nah, he middled it. Like,
Look at his head dropped here on the screen. Oh, Woody,
he's
you can't
spewing.
believe it. Oh, Woody. The nicest man you could meet, by the way.
yes. Yeah, I think it was just, clearly it was my day. He hit it out the middle of the bat, just stuck straight in my hands. Yeah, I threw the ball over my shoulder and went to celebrate with everyone because we had him 8 for 60.
So you've got 5 for 5 of 3.1, and Vorney starts talking about you in commentary and how almost reluctant you were to hold the ball in the air.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that? So batsmen score 100, they hold the bat up.
Yeah.
Been a great thing. McGrath, etc. Hold the ball up when you've got 5 for.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about doing that?
Yeah. I was probably feeling a bit embarrassed at.
Well, but what are you embarrassed about, man? You've got 5 for
know.
5 off 3.1 overs.
I know. I think it all just happened so fast. Like, this has happened over 3.5 overs.
Yeah.
That I didn't really. Yeah. I just couldn't believe what was happening to me.
Well, I don't think anyone could believe it. Which we'll fast forward here to when. There's the replay. Hopefully, it's got you. Here you go. There you go. There's you holding the ball up. Now, we've got that on slow-mo. I reckon it took about 0.7 of a second, and you're surrounded by teammates.
Yeah.
It needed the highest focus camera in the history of cricket to actually see you held the ball up, Scotty.
Yeah, I think if it was, I don't know, I think if I took 5 for 50 and I was off 20 overs where I felt like I worked really hard to.
Well, 5 for 5 off 3.2 wasn't the
No,
level of commitment.
I'm happy with that, but
Right.
I think if it was a bit more 5 for 50, bowled 20 overs, and I sort of felt a bit more comfortable, but 5 for in 3 overs is like, these things don't happen, and I just still couldn't believe it.
Then Robinson comes out. You've taken a wicket, which we just heard. First ball, second ball's a dot. Robinson, what do you give an old Ollie?
I know the ball was sort of
How many times have you watched his bat?
a few.
Good.
Yeah. And I get sent it all the time if it pops up on social media and one of my mates has watched it, they always flick it.
Good on you, mate.
So,
So what do you got for Ollie?
so I think it might have been a little leg cutter, just a ball on a good length. He tried to defend it, nicked it straight to third slip.
Who's that? Is that Marnus?
Marnus. Yeah. So Marnus takes a nice catch.
So at this stage, we're just losing it. England are 9 for 65.
Yeah.
Warney's in the back of the box losing it. Not just that Australia's winning the Ashes, but the test wrapping up early.
Yeah.
He's home. He knows he's got functions to get to that night.
2.5 days. It's
2.5 days. There's a tremendous amount of excitement. At this stage, I got a question for you. Actually, before that. So, mate, you've got 6 for 5 at this stage off 3.3 overs. You're about to win the Ashes.
Yeah.
Can you actually... Have you taken figures like that in under 10s or 12s or anything?
Maybe in under 12s.
Maybe in under 12s.
Yeah, but
So
nothing since then.
can you conceive what's happening?
No, still couldn't believe it. That was probably the only time I thought. I remember walking down. I might have had 3 or 4 balls left in that over, and I was like, "Oh, I could get 7 for you." Like that was probably the only time I thought ahead of.
Still want another one?
Yeah. And then, that final. So it was left hand, right hand in when Greeny was bowling from the other end. So I was going from fine leg on one side to fine leg on the other, and the crowd were going nuts both sides. So I was like, started to try and enjoy it a bit. But then I was thinking, I might be able to get another wicket here. That was probably the only time I sort of thought ahead. And then Greeny clean bowled Jimmy Anderson.
And that was it. And you won the Ashes.